Welcome to the second episode in the Life Game Design BlogCast, where in this episode we'll be talking about what every single 2024 yearly planning template misses. Every one of my friends heavily underestimated their achievements in 2023, and it's no wonder since the popular definition of achievement is based on corporate business productivity. Did you get a promotion? Did you make more money? Have you started that new project? In the lens of my special framework that categorizes each area of life, we can see that these reflections only focus on intelligence and contribution, completely ignoring 6 other areas we can be fulfilled in. Sure, doing those things is a small slice of the fulfillment we can have in our lives, but there is so much more that traditional yearly planning templates miss out on, like starting a new atomic habit, consuming a piece of content that inspires you, taking a massive step out of your comfort zone in small ways, like having a difficult conversation, or just traveling locally or overseas to give yourself the break you need and deserve. In 2021, I downloaded a PDF to organize my year, but it never asked me if I had big family or close friend obligations I needed to consider before writing my goals. It didn't ask me if I had events I wanted to go to. I set myself up to fail because I didn't consider my experience, attachment, and other areas of life. By the end of the first 3 months, I felt like a loser. I wasn't able to complete the goals I set up for myself, not because I didn't have enough time, not because I wasn't disciplined, I just wasn't able to look from a bird's eye view at every project within each area of life and be able to see the overlapping that was occurring. 2023 was the best year I ever had in all areas of life that you'll see in my yearly reflection video, because I was able to manage them all in one app. I was able to deepen my family and close friend relationships, get promoted at work, and create my first online course that generated the first online money that I had ever made. I also read more than 30 books, went skydiving, and did my first 3-day fast, all because I saw exactly how to prioritize the achievements in all these different life domains so I could challenge myself at the right pace. This year, I want to dial in my focus because I have left my job to make life game design a movement of people designing their lives for fulfillment instead of empty external success. Cole Hastings, a self-improvement YouTuber, described this perfectly in this post. He said his goals for the start of 2023 were to start waking up at 8 a.m. every day, hit 1 million subs, make significant progress in Japanese studies, do one type of fun cardio activity a week, at least one podcast episode per month, and grow his newsletter to 10,000 subscribers. Reflecting on his post at the end of 2023, he said, "I am done trying to force metrics or growth. Life is unpredictable, and as much as you can try to plan and execute a strategy for the new year, you will be pushed and pulled in more directions than you could ever anticipate. I am no longer trying to force growth in any area of my life. I'm done setting quotas or numbers to hit by the end of the year. And when I really thought about it, I didn't even know why hitting a certain number was so important. It didn't mean anything. So if I reach more views or subscribers than I predicted, awesome. If I don't, then it's no big deal. At this point in my life, growth comes naturally to me. I'm called to certain people, experiences, and work depending on the season. I've set a few goals I want to complete by the end of 2024, but none of them require me to hit a certain number by the end of the year. Instead, they're more focused on how I want every day to feel. Maybe this doesn't apply to you during your current season. Maybe your focus is seeing measurable progress that can be easily quantified. That's totally fine. But this year, the theme for me is effortless growth that feels intuitively right. What he said is very clear, but how to actionably apply it into your life in every area is what I struggled to make sense of until I used the special framework to understand, organize, and optimize every area of my life. Built on top of the special framework, here is the Life Game Design Notion template, along with a perpetual framework to plan 2024. It can also be used to plan your week, month, quarter, or year. Overviewing the 6 steps. From number 1, we brainstorm all the things we'd like to do in special. Number 2 is listing and time blocking any big obligations you have. Number 3 is picking your most meaningful projects and roughly time blocking them for this month. Number 4, breaking down those projects into sub-projects and tasks. Number 5, which is optional, is to find a daily habit to help get those projects done. And finally, number 6 is to reflect on the season. I started by brainstorming all the things I wanted to do within the special framework. Within strength, I wanted to sort out my shoulder injury. For persistence, I mainly needed to get my engine oil changed. In experience, I wanted to climb Mount Taranaki. In creativity, I need to keep to my blogcasts and release my life game design video series. In contribution, I would love to find a school to speak at. In intelligence, I want to read one book per week from my cornerstone book list. In attachment, I want to go surfing more with dad, and I need to schedule calls with my close friends. And in LifeForce, I've challenged myself to do Andrew Huberman's trauma journaling protocol. Doing this traditionally on pen and paper would have felt overwhelming, but thankfully I have Notion to help me declutter and organize what I want to see and what to keep in the background using the 6 categories. Bucketed, anything that will not be done this year. Awaiting, that will be done this year but not currently active. Actioning, is currently being actioned but at a low level. Focusing, which is the prime focus of my attention and my highest priority. Completed, and finally, archived. Step number 2. List and time block any big obligations you have. Before I started putting them into those categories, however, my second step was to time block any big obligations I had. I could see that my friend Derek was visiting me from Auckland for 3 days, so we could climb Mount Taranaki mid-January, and after I would help him set his goals for the year using this framework. But I forgot and I didn't list down that I had a family trip back to Auckland in late January. Forgetting to include obligations like this in my plan always made me feel like I wasn't doing enough, because I would have told myself to complete a bunch of tasks that week, only to remember that I had these kinds of obligations and beat myself up for not achieving what I set out to do. I double-checked my calendar, chatted with friends, skimmed emails, and checked in with my family to see if there was anything else I was missing. I was safe to move on to setting my own goals that I wanted to achieve around the obligations I had this season. From here, I could sort out all of those projects now. Step number 3 is picking the most meaningful projects and roughly time blocking them for this month. So I picked the projects most meaningful to me and I time blocked them. These showed me the areas of special I needed to focus on for this season of my life. For me, these were strength, sorting out my shoulder injury that has been holding me back from my gym progress, creativity, releasing my first big production life game design video with weekly BlogCast alongside it, LifeForce, to do more journaling in general, but specifically Andrew Huberman's trauma journaling protocol. Everything I wasn't going to do this year was hidden away in my bucketed list for next year and beyond. I sorted everything that wasn't happening immediately into awaiting and things in progress into actioning, and finally picked the top priority projects and put them into focusing. This took my list of 40 plus projects into 5 passive projects and 3 key focuses. Step number 4. Break down those projects into sub-projects and tasks. To aid with accurate time blocking, I needed to break down these massive projects into sub-projects and tasks. Taking the release of my upcoming video, which is about 60% done, and breaking it into key milestones that I can head towards each week, keeping the spotlight of my focus channeled on the most fulfilling goal I have designed myself. To do this, I have used a reversed goal setting technique where I backtrack from the end result to find the key milestones I need to hit. Here is my list of milestones. Upload the video and post it on multiple platforms. Finalize the title and thumbnail. Make final edits and watch back. Finalize sound design and color grading. Finish all motion graphics and insert all the B-roll. I'll take the last example of inserting all the B-roll to break down the tasks. B-roll is the added footage in a video or voiceover. I want to break it into tasks that are so small and clear it will feel silly not doing it. This is one of the key principles of game design and missions, where the next step to completing a mission is always extremely clear and requires little effort, which helps the gamer put each foot forward towards achieving their goals. To insert all the B-roll, first I need to mark the spaces where I need B-roll, make a list of relevant B-roll to add, use Motion Array to download all the B-roll, insert the B-roll into marked spaces, make any edits to the footage, and do a final quality check. The list may seem tedious, but working with the best chefs in the busiest restaurants in Auckland, New Zealand, I learned that this meticulous planning is how they can power through and organize massive amounts of food preparation before they assemble it all together in long nights of service. A quote from a chef I particularly admired was the hardest lesson for me to learn, but has stuck with me ever since. I can still remember him pulling me to the side countless times as I would frantically speed around the kitchen trying to be busy but with no plan, while he was calm and collected, moving much slower than me but doing more than double of what I was able to accomplish without any mistakes. He said, "The more organized you are, the easier your life will be." Number 5, which is optional, is to find a daily habit to get projects done. Last year I did more video editing at a higher quality than the 2 previous years combined, even though each year my goal was to become a better editor. The only reason I was able to do it was one stupid little thing: open my video editing software every single day. Atomic Habits taught me the compounding of small habits, But the book Kaizen taught me that to overcome the inertia of starting the habit, I need to make my goal so laughably easy that it would feel stupid not doing it. My self-development group, the Habit Tracking Kings, was born around this idea of having massive aspirations towards our goals, but keeping daily accountability by sharing pictures of the extremely small habits we would do with a strict rule. We would have to do it every single day without fail. A part of our Habit Tracking Kings, Joseph, a software developer, got more done in 2 months than in the past year by overcoming the mental friction of sitting at the computer to code his own app, using this almost silly habit of opening his coding software every single day. Surprisingly, to both of us, there were days when we were so exhausted from our daily lives that all we could do was open our software, exit out immediately, and fall asleep. But we still achieved something in those days. We still showed up. Those were the days where previously we would have told ourselves to do at least 20 minutes, failed to do so, then self-sabotage and justify skipping the habit for the next month because of how easy it was to fail it. I encourage you to find an extremely small and laughable habit to do in relation to one of your most important personal goals for this year. While this season has just started, at the end of this perpetual planning framework is always a reflection to appreciate what we accomplished and see if we want to do more or less moving forward. You can check out the questions with my own examples in the template. Upon hitting 1.5 million subscribers, one of my favorite podcasters, Chris Williamson from the Modern Wisdom podcast, reviewed his greatest lessons of the year. Notably, he said, "As far as I can see it, your life should be lived by design, not by default." If you want to fill up 2024 with fulfillment in all areas of life, download my free Notion template that gives you 2 of the best features of the full life game design Notion app. The first is the seamless integration of the SPECCIAL framework to literally organize your whole life, and the second is a dedicated achievements board that encourages you to make more memories and accomplish more goals. It also includes the step-by-step perpetual planning template. With this podcast, there wasn't much more nuance that I wanted to add, so with that said, I hope you design yourself a fulfilling day.